I
Yeah.
wanted to let you know that potentially we could have been classmates. We could have been best of friends. Girl, I was in RTA, School of Media, the same time you were supposed to be.
No. Oh my God. I was gonna go too. I was this close
Oh my God.
to going. That's
Did you
crazy.
did you
How
get
was it?
accepted? Like, did you get the full thing, like acceptance, everything?
I did. I had to do this interview. I did this interview and I talked to like the head guy or whatever. I don't even know. I think it was like the head person. And I had to do this interview and then they like accepted me and I was gonna go. And then I like sent them an email being like, I'm just gonna take a year off. Like, thank you for the opportunity.
How's everything with you? I want to do a life check. I know you got a new apartment, you got a new dog. How have all those adjustments been for you?
They've been great. They've been, I mean, challenging, of course, after the year we all had. It was a weird one, but it was so nice to get a dog, to write this album. It was a very productive quarantine for me. So that's good. I got a lot done.
Oh, that's amazing. And I just saw just a few hours ago you posted that you graced the cover of Elle Canada, their first digital issue. Congratulations on that. Is that like a surreal thing, like to be on the front cover of a magazine?
Yeah, so weird. So weird, especially because that photo I did with like one of my close friends, Shervin. We just like did it for fun in New York. It was like all I did my own hair and makeup, and he was like, "Hey, you want to take some photos?" I was like, "Sure." And then they asked if they could use that photo. So I was like, had no
Oh,
idea that that photo would be used for the cover of Elle magazine.
but now I want to hop to the album. Congratulations on it. It is so full of emotions and feelings. And I know that you have even said yourself that this is a completely new era of music for you. So, how do you want this era to be defined? Or have you even thought about that?
That's a great question. I guess I would say I want it to be defined as well. First of all, I'm super proud of it. I think it's like the proudest I've ever been about an era, which is really exciting. I just want it to feel like a world of its own. I want it to feel fun and colorful and dreamy, but also sophisticated and real. So that's like every adjective in the world. I just listed every single adjective.
You did accomplish that because it was so like I mean it was a 3 year break between your last album and this one, so it was really nice just to see you grow as an artist and grow as a person, and I think that's reflected in this album. And I know that this was an album that you worked on during the pandemic, so if the pandemic didn't happen, do you think that this album would have even existed?
Probably not, no, because a lot of the songs were kind of prompted by being home on my own and being in quarantine and everything that was going on in the world. So definitely, I maybe I would have written an album, but it wouldn't have been this one, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. I'm really glad that it was this one.
And I know you have said that with this album, you felt like you were just able to let go, both musically and emotionally. So,
Mm.
what got you to that point of being like jumping over that last hurdle and saying to yourself, okay, I'm just going to do whatever I want, say whatever I want, and really put my emotions out there? Because when you're a public figure, I feel like that's very hard to let people inside your world. So, what pushed you to that point?
Yeah, it can be challenging to let people in. I mean, even when you're writing music, you kind of like forget, or for me at least, like I forget that people are gonna hear it. And then, the day before the album comes out, when you're like 24 hours in, and you're like, oh my God, like the people are gonna actually hear this stuff
Yeah.
in your life. It can be daunting and scary, especially when you're like saying some really honest stuff. But I guess it's ultimately like what keeps me doing it is that I know it's beneficial to people. I know that people need someone to relate to. I do. I know everybody does. So I think it's beneficial to be as honest as possible and to say those scary things because someone is bound to feel comforted by them.
That's the beauty of music, that's the beauty of art, is you telling your story, people relating to it, and even using it as a healing process for them. Because I would assume though that writing this album, because you wrote everything on it, was it some sort of a healing process for yourself?
Definitely. Yeah, 100%. I definitely use writing as a healing mechanism in some degree, or like a coping mechanism. So I mean, as much as I love doing it as a hobby and for fun, it's definitely a necessity for me. So it definitely helped a lot.
Now I want to get deep. I'm analyzing lyrics here today, girl. So
Ooh, okay.
there's a line in the album that I love, and it is, it's so much harder to be honest with yourself at 20 something. So is there something about this point in your life that you actually feel like you're not being honest with yourself about?
Great question. I mean, tons of stuff. Tons of stuff. Like just the way that I have like was living my life at the time. I was like just suppressing that I was sad. And there was so much shame that I was holding on to about being sad, because in theory, like, my life is wonderful, and it is. Like, I have everything I've ever wanted. My dreams have come true. I have a wonderful family and friends and a great life. So I was so ashamed of feeling depressed and anxious and having those thoughts, right? So I was just like not being honest with myself. I was just telling myself I was fine and that everything was fine, but it wasn't. And that was like a huge thing for me. Like, just finally being honest about that and being like, hey, you gotta get some things together, and it's okay that you're not happy. It's okay.
Mhm.
There's like a sense of imposter syndrome that comes with like doing this job and then also feeling sad at the same time, because you're like,
Yeah.
you don't even try. You're like, people look to you for being a role model, and you're like, but I don't even like myself sometimes, and I hate
Oh,
that. So yeah, that was tough, but I'm doing a lot better, and I'm trying, every day to be more honest with myself as much as possible.
I'm glad to hear that you feel that you're in a better position now. So you mentioned that at that point you weren't feeling happy. So what brings you happiness now that gets you to that point of like feeling great about yourself and all of that?
There are a couple of things. I think just I've been trying to just find happiness and joy in the most simple things, like just getting a coffee. I like to go for walks now and just grab a coffee in my hand, and listen to music when I'm walking. Like, I try to romanticize simple moments, like my walks home, or getting lunch, or just laughter. Like, I love laughing with my friends and family. I feel like that's such a great way for me to de-stress and decompress. So that's always fun, just laughing and enjoying simple things.
I think, especially in this industry, people don't realize that you have to be on like all the time. So just
Yeah.
taking those moments for simple things, I feel like is an absolute necessity. And
Mhm.
I think people overlook that a lot. And I assume as well, during this time of you writing this album, and going through all of this, was there anything that you learned about yourself throughout this entire process that kind of shocked you?
Man, tons of stuff. So many things. Like, everything that I say on this album was like, I didn't even realize I was feeling it until I wrote it. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, that's just how it works. Like, I often don't like even understand myself until I write a song, and I'm like, oh, that makes more sense. So definitely, but I'm trying to think of like a specific thing that I learned. Well, one thing, because I always thought that I constantly needed distraction. I always thought I was one of those people that's like, I could never live alone because I would just, get so lonely. But I actually love it. I
Yeah.
love being on my own. It's so nice. I'm like, I don't know if it's because I like have healed now or something, but I'm like, man, I could just be by myself all the time. It's
Isn't
wonderful.
it lovely?
It's great. It's like, whoa, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
No, I feel like having that alone time too is good. Like, you just need space. You need to figure out your own stuff. Sometimes you don't want to talk to anybody, but here I am talking your ear off. Well, you're probably alone. And
Do not worry. I feel bad for, like, you have to like ask me questions, and you just have to hear me rambling about my life.
girl, I have been waiting years and years to get to talk to you.
Thank you. I'm glad I got to talk to you. It's awesome.
No,
It's
of
super,
course.
super
Now
sweet.
I have a little game that I wanted to play with you. This is an
Cool.
original. Bear with me. It is called Sweet Dream or Nightmare. I was very creative. So
Ooh, I love it. That's very creative. I love the tying in with the songs. It's amazing.
exactly.
Very
Bonus
good.
points for me. So
Mhm.
basically, I'm going to give you scenarios, and then you are going to tell me if it's a sweet dream, like totally into it, or is it a complete nightmare? Are you ready for this?
Okay.
All right. Scenario number one: getting a text from an ex, sweet dream or a nightmare?
Oh man, I guess it's both. Or it also depends on the ex, where the state, what state you guys are in. If you're like missing them, or if I'm like wishing they would secretly text me, I would say sweet dream.
Oh,
But then it's also a nightmare, because why would you want that at the same time?
so the in between. Next one is taking red carpet photos, sweet dream or nightmare?
Nightmare. Oh my God, nightmare. It is petrifying. Just,
What?
and everybody's just like yelling at you, and you're like, I don't know what to do with my hands, my arms. I'm like, it's the most uncomfortable thing. Nightmare times 100.
What's your go-to hand position? Because yeah, I get it. It's very awkward.
Yeah, like I either just like put them like on my on my legs,
Mhm.
or like put them like this kind of. It's
Prom,
so, yeah, it's
prom
like a
photo.
prop. Thankfully, if I have a ring, it's easy because I can just like pretend I'm holding the ring.
Yeah.
It's just I never know what to do. Or like a hip, I'll do like a one hand on the hip thing. It's so
Or like
bad.
the push the hair behind the ear.
Yeah,
That's there you go. We're getting
yeah,
some tips for you for your next red carpet.
exactly.
Oh, I love this one. being put in the spot to do impressions, sweet dream or nightmare?
Oh my God. It's honestly, it's a night. Well, cause I mean, it's fun, but it's a nightmare because it's so scary.
I know.
One, I don't know how the people are gonna react, and like two, it's hard, like, because I don't know if they're very good. So I always get petrified. I'm more scared to do the impressions like on TV and stuff than I am to like sing my songs. Like
That's fair.
it's a serious thing. Yeah. So nightmare.
How comfortable do you feel doing an impression for me right now to your own song?
Oh my God. Sure. Which impression?
I love your Celine Dion. Let's do Celine Dion and do Sweet Dream. Let's see how that works out. Let's see how that sounds.
Oh my God. Okay. Let me see. So she would say something like, I can't even do this. Is it too much to ask for a sweet dream?
Keep going. So good.
I can't when I'm laughing. Oh my God. I can't. Okay, hold on. I have to be serious.
Yes.
I can't. It's too awful. It's too awful. Need a step back from my feelings. Life is not so bad when I'm sleeping. Is it too much to ask? Too much to ask for sweet dream. That's all I got for you.
I was writing this and I was like, for sure she's gonna say no.
Oh my God, no, I'll do it, but honestly, it's horrible. I feel like if she ever sees that, she'll be like, that is not how I sound. She'd be so offended. Like, this is not me. That is not how I sound.
Oh no, it was great. It was awesome. Last scenario I have here for you. Spending an entire day doing press, sweet dream or nightmare?
Oh man. Well, if it's with you, it's a sweet dream. Yay. Always. Yes, it will always be. But it depends on the day.
That's what I was fishing for.
Yes, a sweet dream. Right now, I'm definitely in a sweet dream. It's not always. If I'm, doing like press at like 5 a.m., then it can be a nightmare. But we're great right now. I got my coffee. We're chilling. We're like almost university buddies, so this is good.
No, this is good. Once we'll meet each other in person one day eventually, and then we'll become real buddies.
I know. Exactly. Maybe at my wedding. Maybe it could be a bridesmaid. If anyone ever wants to marry me, we'll see. Time is, it's here.
Girl, you got all the time in the world. You don't need to worry about that.
I know. I'm just kidding.